Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Aynesworth, and we're going to get into a little lesson here on how to compound interest multiple ways. We're going to start off with annually, and then we're going to go into semi-annual compounding interest, and then quarterly, monthly, and also daily. We're going to do this on a spreadsheet program called Excel, or online format is called Google Sheets. And in class, what we just did, in the last couple days, if you take a look at it here, we learned how interest compounds itself over time. And in the first example, we took $30,000 at 6% over 5 years, and we showed how not only the interest grows, but the principal grows over time. And we did a 5-year example to start us out, and then we learned how to do it quarterly as well. Okay, so this is what we did in class. And so what we want to do is use Excel to generate the same numbers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the mathematics here that's involved in this, and we're going to learn how to program it in a program called Google Sheets or Excel. So this is our end goal right here. We're going to do annually first, then semi-annually, and then we're going to do quarterly, and then we're going to do monthly, and then we are going to do daily, believe it or not, 365 times a year. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start off with a new Google Sheet, so I'm going to do the same thing. If you don't know how to open up a new Google Sheet, well, you just go to your Gmail and go into your Google Docs, and you open up a new Google Sheet. Okay, and so instead of a Word doc, open up a Google Sheet, which is a spreadsheet. Okay, now at the top, what you want to do is you want to put in your name first. Now I'm going to put in my name, you put in your name. Okay, so do that so that when you print it to a PDF and you submit it in Canvas, it has your name on it. So put in your name, type in, this is 2-4, following in our workbook here in financial algebra. So 2-4, call it compounding interest. That's what we're going to be doing. Appropriate title is always good. All right, and copy that, Control C, come down here in the first row. Let's put it in, okay? Now let's format this a little bit. Actually, let's actually add a little title here. Let's type in financial algebra too, just for funsies here, because we're in the financial algebra class. All right, learning how things are done financially. Okay, so let's click on row 1 here. Notice it's all highlighted. All right, let's increase the size of your name to 12 font. Let's bold it and let's put it in red. Okay, that way I know that it's you. This is yours. Okay. Now our goal is as following. So let's state the goal. All right, we're gonna go through how to compound or program Excel, or what's called Google Sheets, how to compound interest or compounding interest. Sorry, I'm not the greatest typist here. Annually first. Okay, so compounding interest annually. Okay, next we're going to do it, after this we're going to do it semi-annually. After that we're going to be doing it quarterly. Show how money grows every quarter. We're going to do it monthly after that. And we're going to do daily for only 1 year. Okay, and daily. All right, and let's put a little note here, 1 year only. For most of them, we're going to go up to 10 years, but this one's going to be only 1 year, because if you go up to 10 years, that's 10 times 365. That's a lot of lines in Excel. So we'll do 1 year only on the daily part. Okay, so that's our goal. Let's go ahead and just highlight it. Let's increase the font to 12 and bold it just to make sure the goal is clearly stated. Okay, let's go down to row 3 here, and let's get all the titles in, because you got to format your Google Sheet here. And so the first thing we want to do is we're going to compound annually. All right, so let's type that in. Notice the title kind of bleeds over into column B right here. That's not good. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do is we need to change the color. So let's put this in red. All right, format a little bit. Now this bleeds into the column B. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor in the middle of the cell, and I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to highlight the cells A3 and AB, and I'm going to merge them together. So come up here at the top here, and you find the icon that says merge cells. So I'm going to take those two cells, A3 and B3, and combine them together. All right. And then I'm going to center it too. So I'm going to come over here and center it, make it look good. Okay. So my first example, we're going to compound annually. All right, let's go set up the other cells. Okay, let's type in the word principal here. And again, this is a video, right? So you guys, principal, you guys can pause the video at any time. If I go too fast, just pause and play and go into at your own pace. Now the principal is your beginning balance. So you know what you deposit, you know, in the bank account. All right. Now in our example in class that we used this example. We deposited $30,000 for 5 years at 6%. So I'm going to use the same value so we can compare. So type in 30,000. Now notice that it doesn't look like really like money. Okay, it doesn't have a dollar sign, doesn't have commas, doesn't have a decimal point. All right, so what you do is you go up here and you go format as currency. So click on the dollar sign, and now it has a dollar sign, it has commas, decimals. It looks like currency. Okay, it looks like money. Next thing we need to do is type in the interest rate. So let's do that. Okay, now before you enter a number in there, interest rate is a percentage. So format it first. So click on percent at the very top of the menu. All right. Our example that we covered in class was 30,000 at 6%. So let's enter in 6%. And notice that Excel or Google Sheets here changes it to 6% because you formatted it first. Okay. All right. Let's bold those. All right. Now we need to put some headings here. So we need the year here first. Okay, tab over. And the tab moves it to the right. All right. If you hit the enter button, it shifts down. If you hit tab, it shifts right. So remember that. And just a little thing about Google Sheets here. Type in the word principal. Apologize for my typing here. I'm not the best typist. I just know what to do. All right, so beginning balance. All right, principal is beginning balance. Go to C5, all right, and type in the word interest. Again, we're just formatting the Google sheet here, the spreadsheet. Now the interest is always calculated as principal times rate times time. So PRT, principal times rate times time. And then tab over, okay, and then we have let me see. We want to calculate the new balance. Okay, so new balance, and that always equals, all right, the principal plus, so plus the interest. Okay, the interest. Okay, that's always the case. Now, why is that? Well, if you just go to our work here, so let me bring up our work from the other day, right here. So you'll notice that the interest that calculated after 1 year was 30,000 times 0.06. There's your interest rate times 1 for 1 year. We got $1,800. So all these values we're going to see on the spreadsheet here in a minute. That's why I asked you guys to bring it up. Okay, now let's go over to F5 here. So tab over to F5 and let's type in the final result. So we need to calculate the final account balance. Okay. Tab over to G5 and type in total deposited or amount deposited. So AMT is amount deposited. That's going to be $30,000 in our case. And then tab over to H5 and we're going to take a look at, we're going to calculate the amount, okay, of interest earned. Interest earned. Okay. Now notice all these titles, they kind of bleed over to the next column, and that's no good. So let me give you a little tip here. Okay. First of all, bold them. All right. So I want to change. I'm going to increase the font size to 12 so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to bold it. All right. Now the columns that have the titles bleeding over, and you can't see the entire title because it's just too long. So what you do is you go up to the top of the column. Okay. So notice that it's not highlighted, and if you go up to the top and click on it, it gets highlighted. Okay, go between the columns B and C, and notice that it changes from a hand symbol to an arrow symbol. Double click on it. All right, and then adjust the column width so that you can see the entire title. Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's do that for each one. All right, just double click on the inside of or in between the columns. Just double click. All right, and then do that for each one, and you can see your titles now. So now it looks prettier, right? So part of designing a spreadsheet is, like knowing how to do it, but you got to format it so it looks good, guys. All right. So now let's compound annually. Here we go. Okay. Our first one, compounding annually. Now what we want to do is compound it over 10 years. We're not going to, in the example here we did over 5, but in Excel or Google Sheets, it doesn't matter whether you do 5 or 10. So I want to do everything with 10 years here, just because it doesn't require any more effort. Okay, as you're going to see, you're going to appreciate this because Google Sheets is a very powerful program. It calculates all the values for you. All you have to do is learn how to program. So type in the first 3 years, and you could type in 1 through 10, but if you had to go up to 365, which you will, you have to know this little trick. All right, so put your cursor in the middle of the cell, highlight them only. Don't copy anything, just highlight. All right, now when you grab the cursor, the little square on the lower right-hand corner right here, notice that the cursor goes from an arrow to a plus sign, okay? Just click and drag, look at this. And you can get as many years as you want that quick. So you don't have to do a lot of typing, guys. You just have to know how this works, okay? Now I don't want to go that far, so I'm just gonna go to here. All right, go to 10 years. Now is the important part. This is where we program, okay? Now you don't type numbers in Desmo, or we're not doing with Desmos, Excel, okay, or Google Sheets. You type in formulas. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow this format right here. Now, what we need to do first is we need to get the beginning balance, and then we'll calculate the interest. Now the beginning balance is up here in D3, okay, column D, row 3. So this first cell should be equal to D3. So you have two choices. You can type in D3, okay, or what I like to do is just click on it and then hit enter, and you'll see the balance appear. That's your starting balance in the beginning of year 1. Now what's the interest? Well, it's always equal to the principal times the rate. So go shift 8, which is your asterisk. That means times, okay? The interest rate, which never changes. The beginning balance does. The balance is going to change over time. It's going to increase. But the interest rate does not change. So we have to make sure it's constant. I've already talked about this. You insert the $ in front of the D and in between the D and the 4. So again, look at that right there. $D, $4. Really, really important. It's fixed now. Now it's going to stay 6% all the time in all my calculations here. And then I got to multiply it by the length of time because it's principal times rate times time. And this is for 1 year because this is annually. All right, so type in 1 and you'll get 1800 here. Now that corresponds to what we did the other day. Notice after 1 year we got $1,800 interest, and all we have to calculate is the new principal and the new balance. And the new balance is nothing more than the principal plus the interest combined together. So if you understand the mathematics, well, guess what? Designing the Excel spreadsheet is the same way. So you type in equals, click on the principal, hit the plus sign, click on interest, hit enter, and it adds the two for you. That's the beautiful thing about Excel, is that it does all the computations for you. All you have to do is use your head and know the mathematics behind it and know how to, write the formulas. Okay, now let's go back to our example here. In year 2, we take the balance after year 1, which is 31,800, and then we compute the interest on that. So the beginning balance of year 2 is equal to 31,800. So click on it, hit enter, and notice that it appears in year 2. Now we want to calculate the interest based upon that. So we say equals the previous balance, which is 31,800, times the interest rate. So times, click on 6%, or you can type in D4. All right, insert the $ again, 2 of them. Okay, times 1, all right, for 1 year. And I put 1, even though it doesn't affect the calculation, I put that in there because it's always principal times rate times time. Let go, hit enter, and notice that we have a little bit more interest. Instead of 1,800, we have 1,908. The new balance, of course, is the previous balance in year 2, all right, plus the interest accumulated, which is 1,908, hit enter, and voila, now we're up to 33,708. Okay, at this point, we can copy the formulas down. Okay, you can start with any one of these three formulas right here on the second year, not the first year, okay? The formulas are on the second year. All right, it doesn't matter which one you start with. If you start with this right here, you're gonna see some zeros, and that's because this is 0 because there's nothing in BA yet, okay? We haven't put anything in there yet. And the interest is based upon the previous balance. So if there's nothing there, then you're gonna get 0 here. So I usually don't start with this one right here. I usually start with this. Just copy it down, grab that right-hand corner there, the lower right-hand corner. And then you won't see all the values here until you copy all formulas down. Okay, oops. Gotta copy this down. Oops, okay. And I gotta copy this down correctly here too. There we go. So once you copy all three formulas down on the second row in year 2, and I'm talking about this row, so let me highlight it. So I'm gonna collect or hit that and highlight that. Once you copy the formulas on row 2, where all the formulas are, all the way down to year 10, you're gonna see that the final account balance, let's make that green, all right, is 53,725.43. That's our final account balance. So let's set equal, click on it, which is D15, hit enter, and notice that's the final account balance. All right, so just take a look how we did that. The amount deposited is equal to 30,000, so don't enter 30,000, click on 30,000. And the amount of interest earned is the final amount minus the initial amount. So it's equal to the final account balance minus 30,000, and you hit enter. And this is how much money we have earned, okay? Ooh, that's a little bit dark. I don't want to make it too dark. Okay, so that's basically how all of them are done. All right, you have to learn how to write formulas here, guys, and then the rest is history. Let Excel do the work. Okay, so we put 30,000 in the bank, leave it for 10 years at 6% interest, compounded annually. Well, guess what? We're going to have $53,725 later on. We're going to earn $23,725.43. Not bad, but we can do better. All right, so we can better than annually. If we compound it semi-annually, which means twice a year, we can do better than that. We can earn more money. And if we do it quarterly, 4 times a year, we can earn more money. If we do it monthly, we get more money. I mean, anytime you compound it more, okay, you get more money. Now, we don't have to recreate and type all this stuff in every single time. Let's get smart. So I'm going to select the titles here. Notice I selected them. I just put my cursor in the middle of a cell, click and drag. All right, I go Control C for copy, come down here to, let's just skip a couple rows right there. All right, and then Control V is paste. And look at that, you just copied the titles down, so you don't have to, type all that stuff in there anymore, okay? Now we got to change the title though, because we want to do it semi-annually now, so let me change the title. Just double click where you want to change the title. And semi-annually is every 6 months, so T is 0.5, okay? So T equals 1/2, okay? Which is equal to 0.5, okay, because every half a year. Follow me on that? Okay. So, let me see if I can do this here. Whoa, that's not good. Don't do that. Okay. So, you know what? Let me change this here. This doesn't look quite right. I'm just going to copy that and delete it, and then bring it down here. Okay. There we go. So T is 0.5 in this example because every 6 months is a half a year. Well, let me put in half a year here. 1/2, 0.5. Remember, T is always in years. Okay, there we go. I'm going to decrease that just so you can see it better. There we go. Okay, so let's get started. So semi-annual. So what we want to do is type in some decimals here. So 0.5, 1, 1.5, and then you don't have to enter all this manually here. We want to go up to 10 years. So just highlight the 3 cells, grab this little square in the lower right hand corner, and drag it down to 10 years. Okay. If you go a little bit past, just delete it. Because I want to calculate this over 10 years. So what we need to do is pretty much the same thing as we did before. We got to create formulas. Now, the beginning balance is equal to 30,000. So hit equals, click on 30,000, hit enter, boom. We start off with 30 grand. So what happens in the first 6 months or half a year? Okay, how much interest do we get? Well, if we can predict it, in the beginning for a full year, it's 1,800. Well, this is probably going to be a half, so it's going to be 900 probably. All right, but let's compute it. Let's select equal. Click on the beginning balance. Multiply it by the interest rate, which is in this case, it's D19 now. All right, put the dollar signs in as I keep on saying because you got to make it constant. Okay, there we go. But this time it's not times 1, okay? We're doing it every 6 months. So T is 1/2 or 0.5, so times 0.5. So enter that in, hit the equal sign, and notice that we get 900 bucks, which is half of 1,800 bucks because, and that makes sense. So up here, if you do it annually, the interest is 1,800. If you do it semi-annually, the interest is half of that because we only have half a year. Now the new balance is equal to the previous balance, which is 30,000 because that's what we started off with, all right, plus the interest, okay? And if you just add the two, you get 30,900. Which is what we need in the beginning of year, or the beginning of the second period. So in the second 6 months, or at the end of the second year, excuse me, at the beginning of the next period of 6 months, we have 30,900. So this next cell is equal to that. Okay, boom. And then, okay, we got to calculate the interest on that. So how much interest are we going to be earning on 30,900? Well, it's going to be equal to the principal, all right, times the rate, which is 6%. And here's where you got to put in the $2 signs again, all right, times a half a year. So times 0.5 again. All right, and notice it's a little bit greater than 900 because we started off with 30,900 instead of 30,000. Okay, now the new balance is going to be the sum of the two, so add them together. Just click on them, add them together, hit enter, and it'll add it for you. And now this is where all the magic occurs. Okay, so you grab the formula here, which is located in B22. All right, not on the first line, but on the second line here, and just grab that lower right hand corner, that little square, drag it down to the 10th year, and repeat that for all the 3 formulas each time. And you're not going to see all the numbers appear until you finish it. So you got to copy all of these formulas in this row, so I'm going to highlight them just to remind you. That's where the formulas are located. So if you didn't get this, make sure you copy the ones on the second row, not the first, which was a common mistake in class, by the way. All right, and now we have a final balance of 54,183. So let's grab it. So this is equal to this cell here. This is in D40. All right, the amount deposited was the same as the previous one, 30,000. Okay, I didn't type it in correctly, I don't think. The amount deposited was 30,000. So let's just set it equal to D18 there. And again, the amount of interest earned is equal to the final balance minus the amount deposited. And notice the interest earned here was 24,183. Whereas before it was 23,725. Notice we earned more interest here. All right, and we should, because every time you compound more often, you earn more money. And that's the whole point of this lesson, guys, is to understand that compounding more frequently, gives you more money. Okay. Now this is semi-annually, so let's do quarterly now. So to do that, let's just go ahead and highlight the titles again. Okay, so highlight them, hit Control C, come down here, skip a couple rows, paste it in, Control V as a paste. And so you don't have to type this all out. Okay, so now what we need to do is change the title. So compound quarterly, type that in, quarterly. Okay, that means every t is equal to not 1/2, but guess what, 1/4. Okay, so change your fraction and change your decimal. Okay, 1/4 is 0.25. So compounding quarterly, here we go. Okay, so on this one here, we got to type in the quarters. Okay, so instead of years, we're going to have quarters. So let's change this here, quarters. Oh, you know what? Probably should have changed this to, well, these right here, this is semi-annual period, so that's all right. We'll keep it that way. So quarters. No, actually, you know what? Let's keep it the years, a quarter of a year. So I'm going to keep that now. I'm sorry. So years here. So here we go. Let's enter the years in. 0.25, 0.5, all right, 0.75, 1, all right. So 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1. Okay, just keep adding 0.5 or 0.25, excuse me. Now just highlight them all. Don't copy anything. Don't grab this square right here. Just put your cursor in the middle here. Just highlight it, and now we want to go down to 10 years. So way down here, okay? And didn't quite get there, so let's just go a little bit further. There we go. All right, so now I went up to 10 years. All right, and now we got to repeat everything I just did before. So again, this is going to be equal to, the beginning balance is equal to your principal that you deposited. Okay, the interest is equal to the principal times the interest rate. So principal, and hit the asterisk times the interest rate. And again, insert your dollar signs. So 2 dollar signs before the letter and in between the letter and the number. And then this is every quarter, right? So you're going to be multiplying it by 0.25 now. And it should be 450. So again, the original interest for the first year, okay, was 1,800. And then for a half year, it was right here, it's 900, because a half of 1,800 is 900. And then if you go every quarter, well, you got a half of a half is a quarter, so a half of 900, guess what? That's 450. So the numbers are making sense to me. Okay. So now the new balance is equal to the principal plus the interest. Simple, okay? The new balance of the second quarter, okay, is equal to the previous balance. Okay, always equal to the previous balance. So this one here and this one are always the same, okay? Because the balance in the second quarter is equal to the previous balance, okay? So after the first quarter, we have 30,450. In the beginning of the second quarter, we have that, but we're going to let it sit in there. We're going to earn some interest on it. Let's calculate it. So it's the principal times the rate. So asterisk times the rate. Put the dollar signs in twice. All right, times a fourth of the year, times 0.25. And notice it's a little bigger than 450. Now, let me see, did we do this one? Yes, we did. Look at this, right here. So we did this already the other day, okay, a couple days ago. And notice in the second quarter, the interest earned was 456.75, and that's exactly what we got. Okay, so now the new balance is equal to the beginning balance, all right, plus the interest. And notice we got $30,906. And if you look at your work here, that's what we got on the second quarter. All right, now all you do is just copy your formulas down. So on the second row, okay, so grab that little square, copy it all the way down to the 10th year. Okay, the numbers won't appear until you repeat it 2 more times. Okay, and there we go. And now the final account balance is $54,420. Okay, so So let's go ahead and select, say equals, go down here, click on the final account balance, hit enter, and notice that I have 54,420, which is higher than before, right? Because we're making more money. Okay. The amount deposited is equal to 30,000. All right, the amount of interest earned is equal to the final minus initial. And we earned now 24,420. And before we earned 24,183. Well, now we earned some more, right? Because we're making more money. And that will always happen when you compound more often. So in the beginning, we did it annually, then we did it semi-annually, now we did it quarterly. Okay, now let's do it monthly. Now let's just be efficient here. Let's copy the titles. So click and drag, highlight your titles, go Control C for copy, and come down here, skip a couple rows. Control V is paste, and now we can work on the monthly. All right, so here we go. Let's change the titles though, monthly. So monthly here, T is not 1/4, right? Because there's 12 months in a year, so T is 1/12. Okay, which who knows what it is as a decimal. It's repeating though, I know that. So let's check Desmos here. Let's see what it is. Okay, so let's type in 1 divided by 12. Okay, notice this 0.083 repeating, and you do not want to just use 3 digits. If you use 0.083 in all your calculations, my friends, you will be far off from the actual. Don't round your numbers and use exact values. So use 1/12 of a year, all right, versus a decimal approximation. Don't do that. Okay, now if you try to type in 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, okay, that probably won't be a good idea. So you can try it. In fact, I've had students try this and they've had difficulty, and that's understandable. But we do know we want to go to 10 years, all right? Now 10 times 12, let me see, there's 12 months in a year, so 10 times 12 is 120 months. So we have to go from 1 to 120. So I'm going to change this to months. Okay, we're going to do it monthly, so change it to months. So type in 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to click and drag. Now we got to do this for 120 months, and we're already at row 91. So let me give you a little tip. So we're in the row 91, and you need to add 120 rows. So we're probably going to have to go to row 211. So let's highlight this and let's copy it down to row 211. I think I'm one off though. I think it's 210, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm right. Okay, so go all the way to 120 months or 10 years, which is all the way up to row 210. Let's go back to the top and let's program. Okay, so here we go. All right, so the beginning balance, again, I'm repeating myself over and over again, is 30,000. So it's just select the cell, which is in D88 this time, hit enter, and voila, you get the starting balance of 30,000. You got to calculate the interest on that. So that's always equal to principal times the rate. So the rate is in D89 now. Insert the dollar signs again. Okay. Most common mistake people make is they don't put that in. Now multiply it by the length of the period. This is 1 month, and 1 month is equal to 1/12 of the year. So you type in 1 divided by 12. Do not use the decimal approximation. Okay, and you should get 150, which makes sense, because if in the original one right here, the interest for 1 year is 1,800. Well, guess what? If I type in 1,800 divided by 12. I get 150, so the interest for 1 month better be 150. So these numbers to me are making sense, and hopefully they are to you. All right, now we got to calculate the new balance, and that's equal to the principal, all right, plus the interest, and you get 30,150. All right, and now you got to kind of repeat that. Now the balance in month 2 is the previous balance. So this is always equal to the previous balance. So just select it, hit enter. And again, I keep saying that these two are always the same. The balance in month 2 equals the preceding balance in month 1. all right, at the end of month 1, right? And then, of course, it earns more interest. So the interest is equal to the previous balance, which is $30,150, times the interest rate, all right, which is in D, looks like D89. All right, put your dollar signs in to keep it fixed or constant, because the interest rate doesn't change, and that's how you keep it constant, or always say fixed or static in Excel. Okay, and then you got to multiply it by 1/12 because we're talking about one month at a time. Okay, notice it's just a tad bit more than 150. The new balance is equal to the previous balance plus the interest. So again, you got to think simple. You have to know this strategy here, and that's why I did it by hand with you first, because if we went straight to the Excel spreadsheet, you would be lost. Okay. Now we're done with these rows here, or the formulas here. So now click on the first one, grab that little square, and drag it all the way down. All right, to 120, the 120th month. Go back up to the top and repeat. Okay, grab the row 2 now. Don't grab the second, the formulas in the second row on that, in that group right there. Okay, you're not going to see the numbers come out until you copy all 3 formulas down. Okay, so oops, something happened here. There we go. And now my final account balance is 54,581. Okay, so let's go up to the top and let's get that value. So it's equal to, let's go scroll down and just click on the cell, or you can type in D210 if you want. All right, go back to the top and the final answers. So there's your final account balance. The original amount deposited is 30,000 as in all examples here, and the amount of interest earned is the difference of the two. It's final minus initial. So it's equal to the final balance minus the amount you deposited gives you the interest earned. And notice, all right, notice that, let me see, 24,581 is more than the previous one. The previous one was 24,420. So we're gaining more money because we're compounding more often. The more you compound, or the more often you compound your money, which means adding the interest back into your account, the more you're going to make. All right. So compounding daily, 365 times a year, should be more money. And if you compound hourly, that should be better. If you compound every second, that should be better. And if you're compounding every single microsecond of the day, that's compounding continuously, that's the best. You can't get any better than that. Okay. So now what you guys want to do is compound daily to finish this off. And I'm just going to get you started, and you can finish the rest on your own. So you copy the titles, come down here at the bottom. Okay, skip a couple rows, paste it in, change the title to daily. Okay, that means that the time value is not 1/12 because there's not 12 months or 12 days in a year. There's 365 days a year. So T is always in years. And so this is a very, very small fraction of time. It's only 1 day out of the year. All right. So now you got to change your title from months to days. Okay. So I would do that. And then go from 1 to 365. So type in 1, 2, and 3. Now we're starting at row 216. So let me give you a little tip here. So you enter in 216 and you got to add 365. And then subtract 1 to get your actual value. So we got to go to row 580. So I'm going to copy this. Well, first of all, select it. And we're going to go all the way down to row 580. All right, just click and drag and just let it go. So you're at 580. Not, it sounds like a lot of work, but it's not. Boom. Okay, so now there's the 365th day. You go back to the top and then you repeat all the formulas. And I'm not going to finish this off. I want you guys to do this, okay? You should have learned from all the previous examples. So go ahead and do that. Finish your work and we'll check the rest in class, okay? Those are some basics of Excel. There are other ways to do things, of course. So don't think that my way is the only way of doing things. There are more advanced ways to do it, which is in the next lesson. So stay tuned for that. You need to watch the next lesson, by the way. So in Canvas, let's go into Canvas real quick. In financial algebra, let's go down to section 5 in our chapter 2 here in financial algebra, and let's check it out. So we're working on section 4 now. This is where all it's coming from. To get prepared for the next lesson, you got to watch this lesson here on compound interest formula. All right, this is on compound interest formula. So watch this, get prepared for the next lesson, and I'll see you then. This is Aynesworth. Hopefully that helped you out. Whoops, there we go. In terms of like learning how to work with a spreadsheet here, and hopefully that connected a lot of things between what we did on by hand in class when we calculated it all manually, on paper and pencil using Desmos, and step-by-step calculations, and hopefully it just put it all together and show you the power of Excel. Because once you program it like this, all you have to do is change the values and everything changes automatically. So for example, if I change 30,000 to 20,000, look at everything change. It changes automatically. It's a dynamic program. So once you change the values, whether you change the principal or the interest rate from 5% to maybe 6%, no, excuse me, reverse that, 6% to 5%, everything changes automatically. So that's the beauty of spreadsheets. You get to use them because they're dynamic, and you can use them in many different scenarios. I mean, all over business, engineering, education, you name it. Excel is used. All right, this is Mr. Aynesworth. I'll see you in my next lesson. Bye-bye.